Hello everybody, my name's Kylie, and today I had the most stressful day. I dropped hot food all over myself, and this guy who's been bothering me surprised me at a cafe, and I had to deal with that. But despite all the stress, it was actually somewhat of a good day because I got to help some people. I got to help this person here, the student here at my university who is interested in studying abroad in America. I gave him some advice, and I also have been receiving some emails about people who are interested in going to top universities and what kind of research they could do in high school to improve their chances, and I got to help them with that. That was quite nice, and it gave me an idea for a new video, which is to explain what my philosophy is in my academic consulting. So, as some of you might know, I am an academic consultant, and the philosophy that I use when I consult people to, help them find meaning and purpose in their lives is called IKIGAI. So it's based around this Japanese concept called IKIGAI, which is, it's kind of a concept, and I'll go in depth into it here in a sec, but it's a concept that involves not only you personally deriving a sense of self, but also the sense of self that you get from properly contributing and feeling that you've properly contributed to society at large. So it has this kind of two-way street where not only are you producing the sense of motivation and purpose from within, but also receiving that feedback from society as well. So you're getting both sides of the equation. And this is really kind of the core concept in what I, teach, or I guess emphasize in my academic consulting. So that's what I'm going to be going in depth today. So let's get started. So, what exactly is Ikigai? So I'm just going to read off of Wikipedia here for a second. Wikipedia says, Ikigai is a concept consisting of two aspects: sources or objects that bring value or meaning to life, and a feeling that one's life has value or meaning because of the existence of its source or object. So you can see here it's contrasting the two things that I mentioned before. It's a sense of purpose and value from within, and also a sense of purpose and value being transmitted from above, from society to you. So it's kind of been popularized in this Venn diagram, so I'll put up the Venn diagram for y'all. And the Venn diagram has 4 circles that are all interlinked, and each of the circles represents something that's important in this Ikigai concept. So the first circle is what you love. So that's basically your values, what you are really interested in, etc. So for me, I really, really love the stars and the universe and all the interesting things that are in it and that can be discovered. And as I go through this, I'll try and use myself as an example to give you guys some more concrete things to think about. And so the next one is what the world needs. So the next circle is what the world needs. So there are lots of different roles that you can have in this world to contribute to, or in society, whatever society that you're a part of, whether it be America or some other country or some smaller society, whatever. But there are many, many roles. And as you see, this will all come together in a second. So the third circle is what you can be paid for. So certainly there are roles in society that need to be filled that aren't often very well paid for. An example of that might be grade school teachers here in America, or restaurant waitresses, or hostesses, or waiters here in America. Those kinds of positions don't really make a livable wage, but they're really needed in society, right? What you can be paid for is more emphasizing how can you make enough money to live in society, kind of thing. At least that's how I interpret it. Okay, the next thing, the last circle, fourth circle, is what you are good at. So that's really kind of emphasizing, sometimes it's good to think about what you like, but also it's good to think about what you're good at. Because a lot of the time, we may really, really like something, but we may not be like very professionally good at it. We may not have the skill. And so we can't really think about including that aspect of our lives within our careers or our jobs. Because really what Ikigai is really teaching is what kinds of paths through life we can, or rather, this is how I interpret it, what kind of paths through life we can take that will give us this fulfillment and meaning kind of thing. So if we combine all of those concepts together, we get Ikigai. And there are, different overlapping portions where you can get somewhat of a satisfying life, but it's not fully Ikigai. And you can see this by how the circles kind of overlap, but are missing like one or two of the other circles. So for example, if we look at this diagram, if you take what you love and what you're good at, then you get passion. Pretty simple. If you really love something, you're really good at something, that is your passion. But you could be passionate about something that there really isn't a role in society for, or it's hard to be paid for, right? So that's why those two aren't really included in passion. Then if you take what you love and what the world needs, then you get mission. You can kind of imagine it like, there are those people who create like nonprofit foundations to solve some world issue. That's kind of the feeling you should get from this overlap here. What they really love is to help this one problem or solve this one problem in the world, and that's really what the world needs. So that's when you get mission. It may not be easily paid for, right? Like, it's kind of hard to work in that kind of nonprofit industry, and they may not be super good at it, but it's their mission. It's their mission in life. The next one is what the world needs and what you can be paid for, and that is vocation. So vocation is really saying like, it's just basically just a job, right? There's this role that in society needs to be filled and people are willing to pay for it. So you get a job, vocation. And the last one with overlapping things is what you can be paid for and what you're good at. And that you get profession. So if you're really, really good at something and you can be paid for, then you get kind of like a high level job, and that is a profession. Some professions aren't really, super needed by society, right? A good example of this is like some really obscure research. So I'm kind of like throwing myself under the bus as like a person who wants to go into academia with very little, spots open because it's not really needed for society, but that's just how it is. So a good example of a profession is like a professor in a really, really obscure research field. So those are kind of where two circles overlap to form the overlapping area for two circles. But if you combine three circles and leave one out, you also get certain aspects of a life that's not completely Ikigai. So let's go over those. So if we look at this top kind of section, where it's what you love, what you're good at, and what the world needs, then you get some delight and fullness, but no wealth. Because obviously, it can't be paid for, right? That's the thing you're leaving out. So you get some satisfaction and you get some really good value out of this life path you've developed for yourself, but you're poor. You can't really live. And there are studies that have shown that, if you're poor, then it's harder to be happy. Like, money at some level does lead to happiness within some range. So, if you're below the poverty line, you're not going to be as happy as you truly could because you're constantly worrying about money. And so that's why, this money aspect has to be a part of Ikigai. Okay, so that's that top one. Okay, the next one is if you have what you love, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. And this is like, I guess, a person who is satisfied with their work and loves it, but there's like a sense of uncertainty and anxiety revolving around their job because they're not really good at it, right? That's what's missing, what you're good at. Because you're not really good at it, you might have to work extra hard at it. You might struggle a lot, and constant struggle, constant stress like that isn't really like conducive to really like the satisfying life that you really want, right? And so that's the next one. Okay, the one after that is if you leave out what you love. So you have what the world needs, you have what you can be paid for, and you have what you're good at. And this is like, you're comfortable living your life, but you're not doing what you love. So you feel empty, maybe pointless kind of thing. You feel like there's something else, something more you could be striving for. Like you wish you could be doing what you love. That's what a lot of people wish. Even though you live a comfortable life and you don't have much anxiety because you're good at your job, you don't have that feeling of excitement to go into work every day kind of thing. Okay, and then the last one, you have what you love, what you're good at, and what you can be paid for. Okay, this one, since you're leaving out what the world needs, it means that you're satisfied with your job internally and it's pretty great for you, but there's a feeling of uselessness that comes along with the fact that you aren't really contributing much to society. And so you don't get that feedback from society where it's like, oh, you're really providing a lot for society, thank you, we love you, you're doing a lot for people. You don't get that feedback, and so it's like a one-way street from the two-way thing we talked about before. So that's that one. And of course, if you include all of them, then you get Ikigai, and that's what we're striving for. Alright, so you say, okay, Kylie, you taught us about Ikigai. How am I supposed to use this to figure my life out? You know, how am I supposed to use this thing to create a satisfying and meaningful life for myself? Well, I tell you, you need to think about two things. So I like to simplify this Ikigai Venn diagram down into two main things you need to think about in your life. So the first is the internal street of the two-way street, the internal one. Think about what you're really passionate about, right? The overlap with the what you love and the what you're good at. The passion. You need to think about what you're truly passionate about. So you can do this by, breaking it down and saying like, okay, what things do I really like? What things am I really good at? And do it that way. Or you can just spend some time thinking, what really motivates you? What gets you out of bed, even if you're like super feeling down, if you're super frustrated with the day? What really gets you going, even in those situations? Those are the kinds of things you should think about when you're considering the internal side of the Ikigai. So it doesn't even have to be a certain career that gets you really motivated. It's not like I woke up one day and was like, oh, yes, I want to be an astronomer, or I want to do science for a living. No, I didn't just do that. I spent a lot of time in my childhood thinking about what meaning I could draw from life. What did I really want to pursue in my life? And I came to the conclusion that it was really important to me to leave a mark on humanity in some way, and I thought like the way I really wanted to do that was to expand human knowledge. I really wanted that to be my mark, and so I knew I wanted to go into some sort of research, and then I combined that with my love for the stars, and there were some pretty incredible mentors that kind of helped me realize I could actually do science for a living, because I never really realized that you could actually do science as a job. So I had some help with that. But the point is, like, I didn't just come up with a career and said this is what I wanted to do. It actually took some thinking about what I really value, what I really want to do for society, and connecting all those pieces into something that really works for me. And so that leads me to the second thing you should think about when applying this to your life, which is those other two circles of the Venn diagram, which is what the world needs and what you can be paid for. And how I kind of combine those is really like, what can you really do for society? That was the aspect of being an astrophysicist that I didn't really realize, right? I didn't know that society could pay for me to do that, right? But, society does. There are jobs where you study astrophysics for a living. I didn't know that, and I had to have mentors show me. And so that's kind of like the role other people can have in this journey for you. But anyway, finding out what kinds of positions in society there are is another aspect of this exploration for yourself, of determining this really satisfying, motivational, and valuable life for yourself. Once you come up with your passion and what you really want to do in life, what your values are, how you want to live your life in general, once you've really come up with those things, then you connect it to how those things can relate to what you can give to society. So this is really about you giving something. It's that giving to society and the society being thankful for you that really connects that two-way street. So once you've, thought of what you're really passionate about, and then you've come up with certain careers that could potentially help you give back to society through your passion and what you really want to do in life, your values, etc., then that's the center of Ikigai. And that's what I really like to help people figure out, all these puzzle pieces, as an academic consultant. But you can certainly do it for yourself. You don't need someone like me to help you. But for a lot of people, it certainly is easier to have somebody talk it through with them. If that's certainly something that you would really like, then certainly you can email me or go check out my website, kdaconsulting.info, and become a client of mine. But even if you'd like to do it on your own, I really hope this was kind of like a helpful guide on how to do that. So in summary, we went over Ikigai today, and then we learned that, or at least we learned about my method, about how to apply Ikigai. So the first step is you really need to look within yourself and find what you're passionate about, what you really like and what you're really good at, put all those pieces together, figure out your own values, what you really want from your own life, what you really want to accomplish in your life, and then put that together with what kinds of careers and roles in society could help you accomplish those things while giving back to the people in society in a way that obviously is going to be monetarily appropriate for you living in society, because obviously that's the society we live in today. Yep, well, I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.